Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and today I have a list from Patreon subscriber Foxicon. And Foxicon wants me to try something that I've seen in Magic Pass before, and that's the main deck Surgical Extraction Extirpate effect plan. I've seen various versions of this ever since Planar Chaos came out and Extirpate was printed. Basically, the idea is you counter or discard or remove all of your opponent's threats and then extirpate them so they can't draw anymore. It's kind of like the Naruto chi blocking maneuver, like little hit, little hit, little hit, and then all your opponent's arms and legs can't move anymore, and you can easily win the fight because they can't move. However, there are some problems with that plan, and that is you have to hit them first. So in order to surgical extraction that Tarmogoyf, you have to get that Tarmogoyf into the graveyard. That show and tell, you have to get that in the graveyard. Like, you have to survive the first wave of each threat before you can extract the second wave of each threat. So the deck has to be really good at proactively discarding those cards or reactively countering or removing them. And this deck right now is only kind of good at those things. So 2 Fatal Push for spot removal. What if they resolve Hooting Mandrills? That's Fatal Push is not a good enough removal spell all on its own, and 2 is not enough of them. 3 Thoughtseize. That's a good start. That's the kind of card we want in this deck. 4 Force Will, that's a good start. That's what we want. Cabal Therapy, not what it once was. You need to get a look at their hand before you know what's going to be in there. And Surgical and Extirpate do get to look at their hand. Thoughtseize gets to look at their hand. But what if you draw the therapy first? Like the plan to therapy something, then surgical it, doesn't work if you need to surgical so you can hit with your therapy. So there's a little bit of awkwardness there. I want to clean up the answer suite. I want better discard spells. Also, just looking at the construction of this deck, Moat is the only white card in the deck. So we're basically splashing for a double white 4-mana enchantment. And Moat is powerful here, but we should either go blue-black or put more white cards in the main deck to make white a bigger commitment. So I'm going to go to my updated version here. So I've made some changes. The first one is that Extirpate is completely gone. Sorry, Foxicon, 6 is just too many of that effect. That this deck would not function with 6 Extirpate effects in the main deck. Number 2, I added more removal and better removal. Foxicon had the Swords to Plowshares in the sideboard with 2 Fatal Push main. I have 3 Plows main with a Fatal Push to go with it. Went down to 3 Therapies, added 3 Hymn to Tarox. Like, this is the kind of card that can actually shred a hand proactively, get stuff in the graveyard before you have to deal with it. This is good stuff. Kaya Orzhov Usurper. This also affects graveyards, exiling stuff from graveyards, but this time you can actually win. Kaya's ultimate is deals damage to target player equal to the number of all cards that player owns in exile. So if we're exiling stuff anyway, if we resolve 2 surgicals, that's probably somewhere between like 5 and 8 damage from a Kaya. So I do like her in the main. Went down to 1 Moat. That's a big commitment for a splash. And I kept the Court of Cunning. I do really like this card. Milling them is a good way to get things in the graveyard where you can extract the important cards before they are able to get you the first time. Also, because we have main deck surgicals, we don't have to worry about things like Emrakul, which normally ruin a Court of Cunning plan because you can't mill out someone with Emrakul in their deck, but we can remove the Emrakuls from the deck. And I kept the Seagate Stormcaller. A lot was said about this card, specifically with Cabal Therapy, when it was printed, and I have never ever seen it in a Legacy deck because it did not quite clear the bar that people were hoping. But I think in a deck like this where copying Thoughtseize, copying Therapy, whatever, getting their hand empty is part of the plan. I think it could be pretty good. So let's try this thing, see how it goes, see if main deck surgical extraction can be done in 2021. And I'm on the draw in round 1. And remember when I said in the deck tech that the problem with main deck surgicals is that you have to get things in the graveyard first? This hand has basically no way to get anything in the graveyard until turn 4 when your Court of Cunning triggers. However, it does have Brainstorm and Ponder, so I'm going to keep it. We're just not going to be coming blazing out the gates with discard spells like I would hope. Tropical Island Ponder. This could be Rug or Bug Delver. Could also be blue-green Show and Tell. Could be a lot of things at this point. Bug is very popular right now. The Bug Uro deck is pretty popular. I kind of hope this is the Bug Uro deck, because main deck Surgical is very good against a deck that's trying to win with Uro. Alright, we drew the splashed moat immediately. I'm going to go for Underground Sea, because I do want to chance at casting him to Taraka on turn 2 if I find one here. I do kind of want Force of Will, but I don't want all these other lands. So I am actually going to shuffle this. I found a Therapy. I can do something with that. I have the Seagate Stormcaller. So Seagate Stormcaller is, when this enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less you cast this turn when you cast it. So I can Therapy this turn, or okay, that Fatal Push made this turn a lot cleaner. I was going to say I could Brainstorm then Therapy, but I think I just want to push, and then next turn I can Stormcaller plus Therapy, and the first one will be a blind name, the second one will be a I will have seen their hand from the first one, and then I can sack the Stormcaller to flashback and get another card if I so desire. So I'm seeing Bant colors with Noble Hierarch. I suspect Hull Breacher is in this deck. That's probably going to be my first name with the blind Therapy. Okay, so they're on 3 mana. If they just have True Name Nemesis right now, I'm going to have to get to this moat because that's my only main deck answer. Alright, there's Uro. So now it's actually time to find one of my surgical effects. Okay, so this deck is not going to have Back to Basics or Blood Moon. Look at those lands they have over there. So I want to start working towards Moat. I'm going to get Scrubland with my Duel and Basic Island with my Vista. Important to note, hitting with Cabal Therapy here means that they're going to have Uro. I could just jam Court of Cunning right now on this empty board. Does that make more sense? I think it might. Yeah, I'll do that, actually. Talk myself into it. Like, 1 mana is not going to have a flash threat. That's not even Ice Fang Coatl they're representing. So I'm just going to try to get this into play and see where we can go. If they force this, that's 2 cards out of their hand, which is what I would have hoped for out of Cabal Therapy as well. Alright, force pitching Snapcaster, sure. So if they have a fetch land, they can Uro this turn. Yeah, okay, they're 1 short. If they cantrip, they can't Uro because Karakas doesn't make blue or green. Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Kaya? So I'm just going to Surgical Force of Will, or Cabal Therapy Force of Will. And then just try to get Kaya in. Jace and Force were the cards in their hand. Jace, I actually cannot reasonably beat. Shit. Alright, so how do I beat Jace? So I can flashback. I can cast Seagate Stormcaller, cast 2 Brainstorms, and then flashback strip Jace. Then they have Uro in play, but I can stick my Moat, but then I have to deal with the Uro. And okay, I think that's just what I'm gonna have to do. Because yeah, this Jace just isn't beatable. And the Moat checks Uro anyway, so yeah, getting my discard spells online is what I gotta do here. I guess I have to get Tundra if I want to cast this Moat. So Stormcaller. Oh, that's so funny. It's calling Brainstorm. That is the storm that it's calling. I have to cast Brainstorm first because if I therapy first, then I get 2 therapies that I don't need. Okay, Surgical checks the Uro box, which I put back this and this. Then I'm just going to draw most of those again. Alright, another Surgical. It's pretty nice. Alright, I'm going to tuck Moat and Kaya on top of the deck in that order. And then therapy. Name Jace. And then extract their Uros. I should technically do this in the draw step. Alright. You do this in the draw step in case they draw Uro for turn, then you get to deny them the draw step, and even if they didn't draw Uro, you at least get to see what they drew, and that's extra information. Like if they drew Jace, I could extract Jace and check their hand for that too. Okay, so Uro, Terminus, second Jace. Alright, so exile this. My opponent just asked, am I on drugs? Well, guess what? Your deck can only win with Jace the Mind Sculptor and Uro. They're going to have to bait me down with Noble Hierarchs. So they're actually going to be out of win conditions in a second here. GG. Alright, yeah, they can't actually win this game anymore. Alright, yeah, and then Kaya will absolutely shut the door. Alright, yep, this will be an easy game from here. This turns off the Noble Hierarchs, and now they have no way to win. It's funny that the person who has 3 Terminus in the Noble Hierarch deck is asking me if I'm on drugs. So I probably want to snap Ponder here. Another therapy. I'll take another Snapcaster. I don't want these other cards. They have 11 cards in exile right now. Just need to find another court. The game is over. And the game's already over. I just need to actually win it. So I think I want to maintain my velocity by snap brainstorming right now. Like, finding the court is the fastest way to shut this down. That also feeds Kaya. Hymn to Turok, Swords to Plowshares. Alright. Not the most exciting. Alright, zap you. And then I just gotta get Kaya taken back up. And we got this. Alright, filling their graveyard with juicy spells for Kaya to eat. Storm is 3. They just put 4 fresh spells in the graveyard for me to eat. I'm holding up Force of Will. Yeah, the Miracles decks that play basically 1 or 2 win conditions are definitely soft to this sort of effect. I had a friend in college who was just really interested in playing decks like this, which always tilted me because I always played decks like this. And like, while I believe that these kind of decks are fundamentally not very good, they are certainly good against this sort of plan. All right, 2 turn clock. 1 turn clock. Ooh, very nice. So I'm actually just going to take the Force of Will. Take a crack at this hand. I missed the Snapcaster Mage on my deck study before, so they did have another way to win the game, turns out. Show me your information. All right. And bang, take a million. GG's. That was actually pretty effortless. Yeah, sequencing that turn where I had one plan, but then seeing what was in their hand, pivoting onto the other one, that was clutch. That was everything. So Kaya's insane here. Force of Negation is probably going to be important because I am going to have to beat Jace the Mind Sculptor. Moat is both excellent and terrible at the same time because it's really good against Uro, but my Surgical Extraction plus Kaya plan should already be pretty good against Uro. And Moat does turn off many of my win conditions. It's also really hard to cast, so I'm actually gonna cut the Moat. Fatal Push, I guess, is fine. It's not really the answer you're looking for to Uro, but they do have the Noble Hierarchs as well. I wonder if they're going to pivot into a Monarch deck of their own. I don't know. I'm not going to play that game. So 2 forces and a Kaya are coming in. And maybe Fatal Push just isn't very good. As much as I would like to control Noble Hierarchs, Kaya can also remove Noble Hierarch. Snapcaster is pretty good. Therapy is pretty medium. Like, as far as my discard spells go, Thoughtseize and him are much better than Therapy. And discard in general looks a lot worse because I know that they are an Uro deck, which can draw cards, refill their hand kind of reliably if I don't get him under control. I did see actual counterspell in their deck too, which makes me kind of want to play Flusterstorm. But who has room for that? I gotta rely on the discard to do that job. This hand's keepable. I wish it had a black source, but I have Ponder to find one. Right, they're on a similar plan. I'll turn one Ponder. So any win condition they have in their sideboard, like if they have a Felidar Retreat or another Planeswalker or like anything, like a Shark Typhoon, I don't know what would be in their sideboard, but anything that they have that can win the game has to be in their deck right now because they've seen the main deck Surgicals. All right, definitely need a black source. All right, there's one. Do I want Snapcaster or Seagate Oracle? I have to draw one of them. I already have an Oracle. Yeah, so maybe drawing the Snapcaster makes more sense. So I got it covered on the front and the back, whatever results in being more relevant. Oh, I should have brainstormed before that fetch. What am I even doing? So they might just have Counterspell or Veil of Summer for this, or they might just have nothing. 2 Rebs. Wow, Force of Negation. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Jace. They showed me last game they don't have many win conditions, so I'll take a big one right now. They left off all that mana and didn't use it. I'm going to end step this Brainstorm because they're likely to just Pyroblast it, but if they think this is bait, then maybe they won't. And it looks like we tricked them. So how do I want to navigate this? Only one of these cards I'm not keeping, and I think I'm going to want the Snapcaster. I don't think I need Surgical yet. Yeah, that can be a later problem. So if I just Thoughtseize first, that plays around the Rebs, but plays into the forces. If I Snapcaster Mage, they're going to force it. Or if I Seagate Oracle, they'll force it. If I force back, or they'll Reb, and then I'll force, then they can force back. Or is Thoughtseizing them the better play? Guess I have to work through these counter spells eventually. Yeah, I'm going to run out Stormcaller first. That'll get red blasted, then I'll Thoughtseize them. If it doesn't get red blasted, I'll Thoughtseize them twice. So I can force this now. I actually think that... No, that's fine. I'll let that resolve, then Thoughtseize them. I'm trying to make room for this Court of Cunning. Oh, they found another red blast. So I think I want to strip their Force of Negation, because I can't get through the red blast anyway. And Force of Negation is something they can hard cast. If I had kept that Surgical, that would be a different story. Like, I could take the red Elemental Blast, Surgical the Pyroblast. Now they needed to draw a blue card. So I think I'm going to go for Brainstorm. And if they want to fight over that, then I jam Court. If they just aggro Red Blast here. Alright, that's what they did. And then we slide this in. Court of Cunning with Force backup. I know they can't have 2 answers here. I guess I have to get Tundra to get all my colors online. If they drew a blue card, they can force. If they didn't, they're gonna get courted. They can Red Blast the court on their turn just to remove it from play. Okay. That actually kind of sucks, because if that cantripped into a blue card... Okay, it didn't. So they can remove the court on their turn, but I'm still the Monarch, which is the important part. And they'll have to tap out of red on their own turn, so... GG! Got it done 1-0 with the Surgical Extraction deck, and the extraction was actually good. Alright, I'm on the play with this hand. I'm going to keep it, but I'm not excited about it. I wish it had a cantrip or a discard spell, and then I'd feel a lot better. But if we can clear the way for this court, leading on my fetch land, both to play around Wasteland and because it's a potential black source if I top deck him. Right, Ponder. So, Underground Sea Ponder, since the banning of Uro and Oko, this could be a fair deck, could be a Bug or Blue-Black or Grixis Delvery style deck, but Underground Sea Ponder generally hints that you're playing against combo, and Surgical Extraction is better against combo than it is against not combo, and we're about to find out right now. If they are combo, we could have a big turn right now. Like, if they just fan out a hand that includes Doomsday here, they might be dead. Force pitching Brainstorm. Okay, so they want to fight over Thoughtseize, then so do I. If this is Doomsday. Fatal Push in the deck, Dark Confidant, Brainstorm. Okay, so I'll strip the Dark Confidant. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have taken the Brainstorm. I'm literally holding Fatal Push. Just got distracted by the fact that they're not actually a combo deck. Blew it. Alright, that's fine. I'm not going to extract any of these cards yet. But yeah, if I had stripped Brainstorm, I would have had their whole hand under control, but now I just don't. Right. Always pretty happy to draw Ponder. I'm going to shuffle that. I already have a removal spell, and I don't need more lands. So I wonder what this deck actually is. Is it just some sort of bug mid-range? What are they up to? Alright, so there's the Brainstorm. I wasn't going to Surgical before they brainstormed because I want the Surgical to at least give me information about what they might be up to. I'm willing to bet they shuffled away this Fatal Push. Okay, so if I Surgical Extraction, Force of Will. So they have Abrupt Decay, Fatal Push, Ponder in their hand. They are an Uro deck with 3 Tarmogoyfs and 4 Dark Confidants and Delvers. Okay, so they're Bug Delver with like a big Uro mid-range. This opponent also tilting off that I have Surgical main deck. I don't blame you. And their hand is Decay, Push, Ponder. Alright, my hand needs some work. Their 2 removal spells are not going to go very far in this matchup, but this Ponder could do a lot of work. And this is what I was talking about the Surgicals being a little too reactive. Because right now, even if I had a Surgical and I wanted to rip the Confidants or Tarmogoyfs out of their deck, they could still have the other one and Delver and Uro. So all of those are problems for me. I probably would not have fought so hard. I would not have fought so hard over the Thoughtseize if I had known they were not a combo deck. Wait, what the fuck? Was there a Hull Breacher in that deck? I didn't see it if there was. I need to remember to take actual screenshots, just in case I need to check things. This gets... Oh, okay, hardcast force of negation. That's a deal. Okay. I didn't think I saw Hull Breacher. That would have been a complete beating. Aha, gotcha. I played around your Thoughtseize by having a bad hand. I'm very good at doing that. Alright, so I'm still going to hold on to this because Brainstorm is still one of my best draws. So we know they have Fatal Push and Abrupt Decay in hand still. I can't really count on any of my creatures doing stuff. Alright, I'll play one of these out now. At some point I'm going to have to get ahead of like Daze and Soft Permission. The Plow is nice to have though, for this reason. Do I want... Yeah, I guess I should get basic planes because there are only 3 white sources in the deck. One of them's already dead, and Moat is in there here somewhere. Alright, cool. So, Cabal Therapy. I'm going to name Abrupt Decay. You got the Abrupt Decay, so they have Fatal Push land. So if I draw Moat or Removal, it's going to resolve because... I skipped a step in my explanation there. If they play a creature, but I draw Removal, it's going to resolve because we know their whole hand. But now they have a mystery card in hand. Well, I hope it's not Force of Negation, because here it comes. Strip the Abrupt Decay just in time. Remaining the Monarch, it doesn't really matter if they destroy Court, but milling them out as a win con, it matters a lot. GG, I guess, they said. Oh, nice top deck, GG, I guess. We were in a top deck war. What do you want? Like, this was a good back and forth game of Magic. Both of us have a graveyard with more than 10 cards in it. We went back and forth. We played Magic. Like, one of us was going to break this. If you drew Tarmogoyf last turn, I would have been like, oh, nice top deck, GG, I guess. Like, whatever. Welcome to Magic the Gathering. Oh, look, Uro. A way to punish me milling you. GG, nice top deck, I guess. Just stop whining. Yeah, tilting off in Magic doesn't benefit anyone. Just shut up. Nice top deck, I guess. So I'll get rid of Uro and guess Dark Confidant. LOL, fuck it, is their new response to that. It's like I built my deck with these Uro piles in mind. Alright, Kaya can answer that as well. So I can Hymn to Turok. If this mills a second Uro, alright, so I'm gonna Hymn first. Get rid of 2 Fatal Pushes, alright. Exile that. I'm gonna hold on to my Brainstorm. What's the rush? Right, another Delver. Still have the answer to that. Delver can't kill me fast enough to beat this Court. Even if they bring back Uro at this point, it'll hurt them more than helps them because they'll end up decking themselves. I'm just going to get them Hellbent here and exile Delver. This has been a lot of fun, actually. Good luck over there. 2 cards left in your deck. I don't think you have anything that can deal 8 damage with haste. This deck is definitely a tilt inducer. We're 2 for 2 on opponents just freaking out. So Kai is good. Moat is actually good too. Being a 4-mana spell, I'm not excited about, but okay. Maybe Moat is worse than Plague Engineer. Like, I think I played that entire game without showing them a Snapcaster or a Stormcaller, and they were glutted on Abrupt Decays and Fatal Pushes for a while, so they might actually end up making really poor sideboarding decisions because they didn't see any creatures. Like, they might cut all the removal. So I guess the question is, do I want to be a Moat deck? And I guess I do. If they have Tarmogoyfs and Dark Confidants and Uros, then I just have to clean up the Delvers outside of that. So the basic Plains has to come in. If I want to be a Moat deck against a Wasteland deck, the Plains has to come in. Plague Engineer, I guess, is kind of optional. That'll be in my second wave. My first wave is these 4. My third wave, if I can find room, is these 3. So I don't want all 4 forces in a matchup like this. I actually think Cabal Therapy is kind of bad, because you can't really afford to miss on the front half is the problem in a matchup as tight as Delver. So that's 4 out, so these 4 come in. I do want to keep some amount of Force of Wills, and I think Court of Cunning is a liability against a deck with this many creatures. I still need it to win the game eventually, but Plague Engineer is a 3-drop that helps me buy time. But I do like the rest of this stuff. Hymn to Trock's very good in a matchup like this, especially if I can curve Thoughtseize into it. Maybe I should go down to 1 court, actually. How do I win the game if I only have the 1 court? Kaya. I have 2 Kayas that can still win the game. And Kaya also controls Delver, which is the one thing that Moat can't control. So yeah, that's actually pretty nice the way that lines up. Alright, yeah, I am actually going to go down to 1 court and 2 Plague Engineer. Like, Engineer naming Human kills Dark Confidant and the front half of Delver, and then the Death Touch body trades with Tarmogoyf for Uro. So this is just a very solid Magic card. And I'm not going to cut a land. Like, you don't cut a dual land to make room for the basic planes, you just play 21 lands. Alright, I hope this deck actually submitted. I didn't realize I ran out of time. Oh fuck, I didn't hit submit. God damn it. Okay. So I'm just in with my main deck again. That sucks. My bad. I'm usually super like anal about the clock, but I just was busy figuring out the sideboard plan and wow. Alright, yeah, that snuck up on me. Let's see if the main deck can beat them again. This double surgical opener. Well, we could kick this off with a Thoughtseize surgical. I know they're not going to stifle me or spell pierce me. They could Veil of Summer. That would be really good. They mull to 6. Wow, Force of Will on that baby. Force pitching Brainstorm, no less. They must be all in on a Dark Confidant turn 2. Hope to draw a removal spell. Alright, Sylvan Library certainly counts. That'll also recuperate a lot of lost cards. Okay, so if they don't produce a threat this turn, I can Surgical Force of Will and jam Court of Cunning. So they need to have and play a 2-mana threat. If they find a 2-mana threat and a Wasteland, I'm screwed. They only kept one card. Not a 2-mana threat. Shit. Alright. There's that. Cabal Therapy. So I guess I'll cast Stormcaller and then jam Therapy for the doubles. This can at least trade with Dark Confidant in combat. I'm so mad I didn't click submit because I boarded out some of the therapies, so there's a good chance that this slot in the deck would have been a sideboard card. This one too. You know, I'm going to pay the one. Like, I'd rather have this 2-1 body in play. And joke's on them, I have 0 cost cards in my deck. It's pretty funny. It's not really what I wanted to do, but here it is. They said LOL pro player in the chat. If only they knew. Alright, yeah, so I stripped a Force Will from their hand. Let's get a look at this sideboarded deck. So, Dark Confidants. There's a Leovold in the deck now, and a Lily the Last Hope. So they have brought in more win cons. They cut an Uro. There's 2 Hymn to Turok. Alright. Dazes and Forces are out of the deck. Not that that matters a whole lot because they have Dark Confidant and Sylvan Library going nuts here. They just flipped another Tropical Island. Or no, that's the one I already saw. Oh, wait. So their hand is 2 Trops plus whatever Sylvan Library is doing. The Dark Confidant Sylvan Library tension is interesting because on the one hand, it's nice to have 5 turn 2 draw engines, but they both ask a lot of your life total. So that is actually pretty interesting deck building. Alright, they paid their life. They're doing their thing. Thoughtseize, huh? Alright, sure. Thoughtseize also asks a lot of your life total. They took my moat. That's the card in my hand I can't cast. Maybe I'm just supposed to take that attack. Yeah, I didn't think I wanted to surgical in combat. Like, it occurred to me, but I was like, nah, they're more likely to have a Tarmogoyf here. But joke's on me, I guess. So, if I jam Court of Cunning right now, I am likely to lose the Monarch. In fact, I am going to lose the Monarch. Well, I have 1 draw to hit Swords of Plowshare or Fatal Push, so I have a 4 outer off my Monarch trigger, but then I have basically no way to ever get it back. Alright, I'm just not going to fuck with that. And I know their card in hand is Tropical Island. I really need this Dark Confidant to do some damage for me. It's a shame I shredded all their Force of Wills out of their deck. It's also a real shame that this Court of Cunning isn't Plague Engineer. Oh, I guess Sylvan Library is stacking for the Dark Confidant, so they're not going to take damage unless they shuffle. Hymned Turok. Yeah, that is what it is. I'm not going to cast Surgical and let them get my Court. It's like the only way I can still win this game is if I draw 1 mana removal spell and then jam Court. Show me the plow. Plow off the top. Let's go plow. Alright, swords are... Okay, that's actually really good. Yeah, I can ambush Dark Confidant in combat. Or, JK, no I can't. Yeah, so they have Abrupt Decay now. So ambushing Confidant's not going to work. Yeah, I'm just not going to Snapcaster yet. Because like Snap Thought Seizing might make more sense. Or if they commit to Uro, I could snap Surgical and at least still get something out of it. Alright, so there's that. Abrupt Decay still in their hand. What the fuck? They're just like tilting off so hard. They're winning this game. They are so far ahead. People who tilt off when they're winning are obviously the worst Magic players that there are. Like, not understanding even the basic, like, how the game works. Alright, so there goes that. 1 mana removal spell. Show me the plow. Let me be that top deck genius they warned me about. Alright, so I'm gonna get Abrupt Decayed here. Yeah, so I boarded down to 1 Court of Cunning before I forgot to hit submit. So one of these would be a sideboard card guaranteed. And Plague Engineer right now, human. If they only knew. They're over there tilting off that they're playing against my game 1 deck again. Alright, there go my courts. Nice top deck, LOL, pro player, or you're a top deck genius. Like, notice how I'm not freaking out. Alright, so Dark Confidant has to kill them because I'm not going to do it, and Dark Confidant can't really kill them because they have Sylvan Library. Let's see how smart they are. They probably had the ability to both take 0 damage and flip Delver. Did they do it? Well, if you knew how to stack triggers, you would have flipped your Delver here. Well played. Well, this Ponder in hand is no good. Pretty sure this game is not winnable. Maybe I could jam Moat and buy a little time if they continue to fail at flipping their Delver. Oh wait, no, I can't jam Moat because I didn't sideboard. It's already in the graveyard. Oh, look at all these fucking juicy humans that I could have eaten. Alright. I'll give them another chance to mess up their Dark Confidant flips. Alright, looks like they figured this one out. Okay, I'm dead. Alright, so I'm gonna sideboard faster this time, so boom, 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 boom. They also have Hymn to Tarox, which I am a little bit worried about. So Flusterstorm gets more interesting than it was last game. And there was one other card I cut, it was Cabal Therapy. Oh, I need my second moat. Alright, I'm not quite done yet. I didn't do the Flusterstorms last time, so I do have a little more to think about than I did last time. Yeah, I actually think Therapy just isn't good in this matchup. Okay, yeah, here's my deck. Alright, we had a close game against their sideboarded deck with my game 1 deck. Like, I was actually a 1-mana removal spell, a plow or a push away from just taking over that game. There were 2 or 3 turns in a row where that was true. Would like to play first. I can't keep this hand. This one's fine. I'm going to send the Moat to the bottom. Like, Moat and Surgical are both not going to be good for a while, but the Surgical certainly could come up sooner. Alright, Delver or Ponder. What's the play? Or just nothing? I'll take nothing. Nothing favors me. It would be so funny if I boarded in my Wastelands and Surgical their Underground Sea right now. They would lose their damn mind. But I didn't bring in my Wastelands. I don't think that's a good plan. I want maximum lands in this matchup. They want to keep me off lands in this matchup, so that's not where I'm going to go. That's not the plan. So, do I want to play around Wasteland? Yeah, might as well. I can afford it. Oh, that Thoughtseize is nice. Do I want to Thoughtseize them? What are they representing here? They could Daze or like Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce. Let's have a look. They've been pretty interested in Force of Willing Thoughtseize in the past. Okay, so this is pretty cool. If they Daze, they're set back a land. If they force, this Thoughtseize was upgraded to Hymn to Tarock. If they use Brainstorm to hide their important card, I can Thoughtseize their second most important card and Surgical it, which forces a shuffle. So let's see how this goes. Force of Negation, Pitching Ponder. You got it. So I could extract their Brainstorms right now. I don't think I want to do that, though. That plays right into Daze, and Brainstorm isn't actually an important card to remove from their deck. Like, I could Fatal Push the Dark Confidant they play right now, and then... Oh, that's bad. They got rid of Surgical Brainstorm. Yeah, that actually sucked. That was a reason not to Thoughtseize right away, if I wanted to play around their Hymn to Tarock. Okay, so we've both resolved Hymn to Tarock effectively, because they forced my thing. Yeah, their draw's lining up really well here. I should have just held up Flusterstorm and been patient. I'm not gonna fluster up Ponder. That's not where this fight is. Do I know the top card of my deck right now? I actually don't remember. I remember I knew the Kaya. No, I didn't know the Kaya because I pondered and then fetched, so the Kaya was random. Yeah, I kept Thoughtseize off of the Ponder, fetched to cast Thoughtseize. Yeah, this was just coincidence that Kaya showed up. Missing these land drops is really, really bad, though. I was counting on that Brainstorm. I did not play defensively enough this game. That's pretty good, though. So I could just jam. They did not shuffle their library. All right, this exposes me to Daze and Force, but I mean, it's so good if it resolves. And what else am I going to do? Just hold up Flusterstorm forever? Get rid of him and Force. Yeah, so they have Abrupt Decays that can answer her. And Sylvan Library is active, so I'm in a lot of trouble here. Top decking the land was huge. Did need that. I feel like we're going to lose to this Rager, though, because I didn't submit the correct deck in game 2. Yeah, there's the Decay. No surprise there. Do they also have him to Tarok? I'm fine with Dark Confidant. Him to Tarok sucks. Right, 4/5 Tarmogoyf. I can kill that. Just gonna zap it now before they have Veil of Summer up. And if they force here, I have the Flusterstorm. And if they force here and I fluster, I guarantee they're gonna tilt off in chat. So I hope they do force. Oh well. Right, they pitched a Ponder to that. Yeah, they're just not playing very well in general. Like, they're giving me 2-for-1s all over the place that they don't need to give me. And they have Sylvan Library that can recoup some amount of it. But what? I don't know. If I had Sylvan Library in play and like Force of Negation in my hand, I would just let 1-for-1s resolve and bury them in the long run. Right, so Plague Engineer is a good draw. LOL. And what did we draw? Time for them to tilt. Can't Force a Negation this. Don't have Force of Will. Put your humans in the graveyard. Yep, now they're tilting off in chat. And now I have a threat. I hope they just cast Dark Confidant without thinking about whether it's a human. Now they're just firing off an impatient main phase Brainstorm with no fetch, but I guess with 4 mana maybe that's okay. Hopefully they just get Brainstorm locked here and Plague Engineer puts them to 8. Which means they can't draw extra cards. I don't think they have Snapcaster Mage. If they do, it's a human and it doesn't matter. They could Abrupt Decay here. Alright, that's fine. Make them have it. I'll just play out my land. Maybe I shouldn't because they play Thoughtseize, but they also have him to Tarok, and I do want the land, so I think I'd rather play around him than try to bait a Thoughtseize. And this Sylvan Library is just working through their brainstorm cards, so they've already seen 2 of the 3 cards they're looking at right now. And we're somehow back to board and land parity. They just have Sylvan Library and I don't, which is a pretty big tiebreaker. Ooh, it seems like they have nothing going on over there. I think I might as well just crack this off, because the card that they're likely to pass the turn in their hand is Force of Will. Yeah, there it is. I'll just take that Force of Will. So their top 2 cards clearly did not contain a threat, or else it would be in play. Right, yeah, now they're spending life to get through these cards, which they probably should have done last turn when I was hellbent, if it wasn't going anywhere. Right, I'm gonna let them cast the Thoughtseize if they want to here. I have enough lands that I don't need to worry about Hymn to Tarok that much. Like, I'd be more worried about Hymn to Tarok if the game ended up going out longer to a point where I was holding extra cards. Court of Cunning is my best draw here, though Snapcaster is also pretty good if I can find that. I would love a Brainstorm. Kai is a good top deck. Cabal Therapy. So the way they've been passing, they are clearly holding up. All right, I'm going to play out my land and just save this Therapy in case I draw an important threat. Like I could name Abrupt Decay, I could name Force of Will with this Therapy blind right now, but I don't know which one is actually important. Like, if I draw Kaya, I'd rather name Abrupt Decay. If I draw Court of Cunning, I'd rather name Force of Will. Right, they got an actual shuffle effect here, so they're not just jerking around the same 3 cards. Uro is super dangerous here. It's a very bad time for them to have an Uro. As much as playing out that land hurts a Brainstorm, I think that hanging 2 cards out there for him to Tarok is just not a good idea. And also, sandbagging this spell makes Seagate Stormcaller a lot better. I could even kick that Mamma Jamma right now. Yeah, they're very close to just casting and unearthing Uro all in one turn. Right, every turn they pass without a threat is a good thing, but it also means that they are drawing. Come on, Dak, give me a break. It means that they're drawing spells. Yeah, I still just don't want to make a Hymn to Tarok enticing, because I do really want to use this Therapy to protect a threat. Alright, their Thoughtseize actually did hit something here. But now Hymn to Tarok is, or Dark Confidant is a huge liability because they're at 3. Though I guess with Sylvan Library they can cheat on that. Plague Engineer. Alright, I mean, I'll take that too. And Veil of Summer would be pretty nice for them here. If I hit their Uro, if they have Uro in hand and I make them discard it, that actually sucks a lot. Force and Daze. Yeah, that lines up with what I thought they had. Right, so they have another Daze in hand. Or not necessarily, they can put it back with Sylvan Library. Which they probably should, unless they're pairing it with a Force, because Daze is not countering anything right now. So I haven't drawn any of my plows or fatal pushes yet this game. So those are pretty good right now. Leovold's really bad. Pro player, top deck genius, is that you? Stormcaller. That does not help me right now. It's probably not going to help me at all. I guess if I find Swords to Plowshares, it could play. Or Fatal Push. Like, flashing back Cabal Therapy now is just not where I want to be with my life. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So if I fetch, it doesn't change the clock. I am going to fetch. I will take any little percentage at this point to draw a relevant spell. It said relevant spell deck. Alright, this can at least block. Yeah, so I can copy Cabal Therapy, but that's not even good. Extracting Cabal Fatal Push in response. Okay. Oh, I did have a Fatal Push this game. Sure. Yeah, I'm like mildly tilted that I didn't click submit in game 2, because I think this matchup would have been pretty easy. Our opponent played very poorly, and I think this matchup's probably just reasonably positive anyway. But these turn 2 Sylvan Library, both games. But I misplayed this game, so I like that turn 2 Thoughtseize when I could have just held up the Flusterstorm for Hymn to Turok. Like, that Hymn to Turok was game breaking. It stripped a Brainstorm, which ended up being just super important. So by blocking Leovold here, I can buy a turn. Come on, Swords to Plowshares. Well, could be Swords to Plowshares. Oh wait, no, they have Leovold. That actually doesn't do anything. Alright, so what can I do about any of this? Probably nothing. Alright. They got me. Tilting off the entire time, even though they were clearly winning the whole time, and if they knew how to play Magic, they would understand that. The misclick or the timing out on sideboard was a huge deal. I don't think I've ever done that in my life, but yeah, that really set back that round. And not holding up Flusterstorm when I know they're a Hymn to Turok deck, also big punish. So I should have played more patiently in game 3 and should have sideboarded less patiently for game 2. All right, next round. On the play for round 3, and I'm going to keep this hand. If you look at this hand, you almost don't even know that we're a Surgical Extraction deck. And that's what I like about it. I'm leading on Flooded Strand instead of Prismatic Vista, because if there's something like Death and Taxes or Maverick that would lead on a 1-drop, I want to be able to Swords to Plowshares in the end step, untap, and still Brainstorm. So I would need Tundra to do that, which Vista can't get. We're playing against Ozymandias. That's Matt Fook, I believe. And he went turn 1 Turbo Brainstorm. Matt, if this is Matt, then he is a very strong player, and I would not... I'm going to assume that they're a combo deck. Oh, shit. I was busy narrating my thought process. If they're a combo deck, I'm supposed to Brainstorm main phase, so I can Oh, maybe not. That was a weird brainstorm, though. But I definitely want to get a... I want to find a discard spell so I can figure this out sooner than later, what they're up to. Alright, there's Thoughtseize. So I would have been able to Thoughtseize last turn if I had done that in the correct sequencing. I'm going to tuck the Moat into the deck for now, and... do I want the Swords to Plowshares? Oh, I can Thoughtseize them twice with Seagate Oracle, or Seagate Stormcaller. That's insane. Alright, I think I might want to keep the Swords to Plowshares just in case. I have Ponder to hit a land drop, Snapcaster to keep threats going. Yeah, I'll just slide this Vista. I could also just draw the Vista and have my 4th land ready. That sounds fine to me. You don't have to shuffle. So I think I want Scrubland here. Get all my colors online. So I'm going to Thoughtseize this turn regardless of what happens with the Stormcaller. Alright, they forced it. That's fine. Force pitching Jace. Oh, Shardless Agent. Oh, shit. They have him to Turok come in this turn. Alright, Shardless Bug. Okay, so the turn 1 Brainstorm was to set up the curve of 2-drop, 3-drop, which is a thing that Shardless Bug also wants to do because hitting land 3 on time is generally more important than having a perfect hand. Like, I don't want to get Shardless Agented, but I definitely don't want to get himmed, so I'm going to take the him. We can roll the dice on Shardless Agent. That force was very strong. They have a second Jace come in, which we've already identified that Jace is just a really shitty card for me. Basically no way to beat it. Oh wow, they hit Ancestral Vision. The Dream. The original Valky. So I think I have to snap Thoughtseize because I can't beat Jace. Okay, that's actually really good. So I can Cabal Therapy first, naming Jace. So I get a guaranteed hit, then I get to look at their hand, and then I can Snapcaster Thoughtseize if I need to, or just Snap Brainstorm and sack to Cabal Therapy. Oh, Force of Negation, you maniac. The perfect card. Alright. So, do I want a 3rd black source or a 3rd blue source? I don't think I want a 2nd white source. I'll get the blue. Yeah, Force of Negation, absolutely perfect card there. But it still ended up getting 2 cards the same way it would have, and now I get to keep my Snapcaster, so maybe that was fine. Leona the Veil, him to Turok, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Oh. Wow, that hand was good, but I guess that's what happens when you Ancestral Recall. So I can't beat Jace, but I also can't win with nothing in my hand. I guess I want to strip the Liliana. I'm going to do my best here, and my best is not going to be good enough. Because if they draw a land, they get Jace right away. If they him to Turok me, I'm just like out of this game forever. The Snapcaster can at least fight on the board a little bit. Alright, so him to Turok now for me is the draw. Hey. Sometimes it all works out. They lost the Jace and the Abrupt Decay. So, alright, the Jace pressure is off. We have somehow navigated through this Ancestral Vision, and now we're just behind to their 2 cards in hand and Baleful Strix. Alright, yep, Tarmogoyf, can't beat that one. Alright, so I need Swords to Plowshares now. If you've ever seen me play Magic before, this is how I win games. Alright, I'll just keep saying the card I want to draw. So I think Snapcaster Mage would be a good draw next. Like Snap Ponder would be better than just Ponder. Like, Court is a bad draw because they have the Strix. Alright, that land showed up at the correct time. And by that I mean after I answered the Tarmogoyf and the Jace. I could do this now, though I think I want to save it for when I draw a threat, draw a spell, make sure it resolves, or save it for after the Ancestral Vision. They're going to hit my Thoughtseize out of my hand. Yeah, alright. Fair enough. Save me 2 life. Yeah, this vision is getting closer. Right, I gotta turbo this Brainstorm. Just looking for any good card right now. Didn't find one. Luckily I have a fetch land though. So I am now lined up to Force of Will, the Ancestral Vision. Like, it goes to 1 this turn. I untap, I have 5 mana, then I can hardcast it next turn. Unless they discard it now. Please hit Baleful Strix. Trock. Okay, I'm dead. This game's over. Yeah, so their deck is very well suited against mine because it just doesn't particularly care about any one card. It just has a lot of good cards, a lot of 2-for-1s, and that is just where you want to be against a deck like mine. So, what am I going to do about it? I think Force of Will is actively bad. Flusterstorm is good because it can hit Ancestral Vision off, or it's very good against Hymn to Trock. It can hit basically anything that comes off of, or any non-creature that comes off of Agent. Court of Cunning is risky. Containment Priest doesn't do anything. Plague Engineer on Bird can clean up the, like, Moat plus Plague Engineer, I think checks all of their non-Jace threats. Kaya can actually win the game. Therapy and Extraction. I'm actually going way down on Extraction. I just don't think it's good. And they might have Uro, but I am more interested in winning the game than not winning the game, for sure. So, how many courts can I actually cut? Yeah, their curve of like 2 drops into Shardless Agent is a problem. Or Court of Cunning. I'm basically never going to have a clean place to jam that. So Fatal Push or Plague Engineer, what do I think is going to be better here? Probably Engineer would be my guess. Guess I could bring in my Wastelands to try to screw them off 3 mana, but I don't think that's how I'm going to win this game. I don't think they're a Wasteland deck, so I don't think I need my basic planes. I'm just thinking now if I want a second Court of Cunning, and if so, where I'm going to put it. I don't think that I do. Alright, I'll keep this. I get the first move on Thoughtseize. Or I can Ponder and then Thoughtseize with Flusterstorm back up next turn. And unless they have a Thoughtseize of their own, I think that's okay. So I can also set up a turn for the future that involves Seagate Oracle and Cabal Therapy. Or Seagate Stormcaller. I'm going to call it Seagate Oracle every time. I've played a lot of Seagate Oracle in my life and only played this card this time. Alright, so this lines up well. I can Thoughtseize them and protect my Thoughtseize with Flusterstorm. Or if Thoughtseize just resolves, I can protect myself from him to Turok with the Flusterstorm, the very same Fluster. And this Thoughtseize is going to get a good look at their hand for the Cabal Therapy next turn. Yeah, if they force this, I think the correct play is to Fluster. Because the only reason I wouldn't Fluster here is to protect myself from him to Turok, and if they have him to Turok, I can take it with Thoughtseize. And if they don't, I'm going to wish I stripped their Tarmogoyf for whatever their 2-drop is. I can get punished here if they have 2 him to Turoks. But that is not what they have. Oh, this hand is not good. Right, yeah, I'm going to take Tarmogoyf. They have Force, Abrupt Decay. Sure. Oh, did you draw a 2-drop? Stop. Okay, no, maybe not. Alright, so I'm going to... Maybe I didn't need to fetch here. Yeah, the top of my deck was wild anyway, but I'll get a white source. Alright, double black. Alright, I already have double black, so I'm going to get Tundra for the double blue. Alright, Seagate Stormcaller. Let's go. They drew a blue card, they can force this, but then I get 2 cards out of their hand anyway. Alright, so they're just making that dead. That's fine. So they have to have drawn a land to protect their hand here. I'm going to name Force with the first therapy and just hope that they have another spell in there I can hit. Force of Will and show me the Shardless Agent. No, it was a land. Okay, fine. I'll just name Abandon Hope. Alright, so they have so many banger top decks. Like, if they just Shardless Agent me here. Oh my god. Alright, Abrupt Decay. Doesn't target. Just have your 2/2. Really needed a spell there. Or really wanted a spell there, I should say. Didn't really need it. I'm going to take 2 from Shardless Agent for a little while, even though I have the Plow. Unless they cast a discard spell, then I'll fire it off. But their deck has Tarmogoyf in it. It could have Leovold. Like, there's just scarier creatures, and I don't play a whole lot of removal. I think this is a human rogue. Yep. Okay. It's just we're so close. Curse my 3-color mana base. Now him to Turok is about as juicy as possible. Shit. Yep, can't beat that one. Yeah, the only way I can beat Jace is with Court of Cunning, and they have to race. And as soon as they plus me once, then I'm dead. Okay. I'm dead. I'm not going to beat Jace. This deck has a serious Planeswalker problem. That can be fixed in the sideboard. You can play some Vindicates or something, but I just didn't do that in this build. So, just dead to Jace. Note to self, add Vindicates. I'm on the draw with a perfectly respectable looking blue-white hand. I'll keep it. I have Force of Will. I can turn 1 Ponder and also turn 3 Double Ponder. Alright, well, we're playing against Rainbow Depths. So I could let them have Reclaimer and try to cantrip into a removal spell, or I could fight over Reclaimer, and I think that's just going to be correct most of the time. Pitching Stormcaller. Ponder is just a better Magic card on its own. Though I am bummed I don't get to double Ponder on turn 3. Oh, I'm still going to double Ponder on turn 3. What do you know? Is that even something I want to do? I guess I have enough lands. I could also just shuffle. That is the thing I'm allowed to do. Yeah, I'll shuffle. Okay, Swords of Plowshares, big help against Depths. Bathing Needle, probably naming Wasteland, I would hope. That's the normal thing you name? Okay. So my Wastelands are in my sideboard, so that's a wasted card game 1, but the fact that they have it is good to know. Ooh, Court of Cunning and Hymn to Turok are both pretty solid. Snapcaster Mage is probably the most solid among these, though. So I think I want to draw these in this order. Alright, so I'm not going to show them that I'm a white deck just yet. Like, if they have a plan that involves shoving Merit Lage into play, I don't want them to be thinking about Swords of Plowshares until it's too late. Unfortunately, there is not a version of events where I can plow and snap plow right now. Alright, white mana, surprise. But you're not actually surprised because you're a Depths player and you know what's going on. The cool thing about Depths is that they get to play around. Oh, there was a spirit guide. I was like, what the fuck just happened? The power of Depths is that they don't really need to know what's going on because they can play around. There's like 3 things in the entire format they need to play around, so they can just always play around all of them. Though they really did just go for it there. They must have a plan to rebuild. Hexmage, okay. They've already used their land drop, so I could snap plow that Hexmage. Or I could Hymn to Turok them. But yeah, I think snap plowing Hexmage is better because then that's just gone. And I don't have to worry about it for the Court of Cunning either. Alright, and then next turn I can Hymn plus Court. Hymn to Turok you. Let's get this hand empty. I don't care about your 38 life. That's not my plan anyway. So they have a crop rotation. Do they have 2 crop rotations? They do not have 2 crop rotations. They have a stifle, though. Glad I had the Hymn, because if they stifle the You Become the Monarch, this just doesn't even do anything. Alright, so now I'm drawing extra cards. If they draw Stage right now, I'm going to have to find another plow. Inquisition, Stripping, Ponder, okay. I'd rather they make me discard than draw Stage any day of the week. They saw the Prismatic Vista, so I can play that out without giving away any information. Oh, fuck. Just like that, huh? Alright, so I got 2 draw steps here to figure this out. Fatal Push is not the one. Oh, God. I guess I should play Seagate Stormcaller in case I draw Brainstorm off of the court. I can also, I mean, Swords to Plowshares, I'm gonna fucking Fatal Push. So close. Swords to Plowshares is gonna hit the Merit Lage, obviously. So, do I play this with Kicker? It costs... Oh, it costs 7 to kick it? Okay, I thought the total kicker cost was 5, but the total kicker cost is 7. Wow. All right, yeah, I'm not kicking this thing. I'm just gonna play it like this. Doubles my next spell. Run out my land. And then let's hope I draw Brainstorm or Swords to Plowshares off of this Court of Cunning, this Monarch trigger. Right, they went for it. 1 to rule them all. Nice top deck pro player, top deck genius, etc. Okay, so Kaya comes in. She can exile Pithing Needle or Merit Lage. The Wastelands are coming in. Fatal Push is going out. Surgical would have been insane in that game. This is definitely the kind of matchup where zapping their combo piece is GG. So I want Flusterstorm. I'm not sure about Force of Negation. Probably not. Moat doesn't help. Stormcaller is fine. Him is fine. I don't really want Therapy because you can't afford to miss. Push. Oh, they do have Reclaimer and Hexmage. Like if they have to just run out a Hexmage, the push is fine. I do want Force of Will. I'm bringing in 2 lands, but I don't think I actually want to cut any lands. Court of Cunning is my best way to win the game. Though I guess if I don't lose, then I win. Seagate Stormcaller doesn't do a whole lot in this matchup. And yeah, all the therapies are already out. That's good. That's where I want to be. And I got these Force Negations are optional. Because they're good against the like crop rotation kind of part of the plan, but they're bad against land drops and creatures, which is another significant portion of the deck. I guess I can bring in Plague Engineer and name Vampire proactively, just cutting off one of their outs. That's probably better than trying to goof around with Force of Negation and have it line up correctly. Hymn to Tarak can hit lands from the hand, which is worth a lot. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go even slimmer on Stormcallers. I just don't think that card is very good. Ugh. They had to draw exactly Stage or Hexmage on that turn when it still mattered, and they managed to string it all together. This one has Force, Wasteland, and Plow, so I have 3 disruptive elements. I'm definitely keeping this. I'm not going to fight over Inquisition because basically everything is redundant. Like if they strip the snap, I still have the Plow. If they strip the Plow, I can snap the Plow. They can't take the Wasteland. Now that they see in Wasteland, I don't need to slow roll it, so I'll just put it into play. So they're going to have to answer that before they can make a Merit Lage. Now they're duressing the Plow, but now I've drawn the redundant Snap. So they lined up their discard spells correctly. It just ended up not mattering. Like, I still have Snap Plow available to me. Oh, or they have another discard spell. Okay, sure. I guess I could have flashed in Snapcaster and started the beatdowns and just hid behind the Wasteland. I probably should have done that. Lessons learned. Ponder Hymn to Turok. Do I want this Hymn to Turok? Probably. Alright, so I'll draw the Hymn to Turok now. Maybe I'm supposed to have Ponder now so I can force, but like if they have another discard spell, I'd rather him now. Sylvan Scrying. Okay. So they're going to scry for the Thespian stage. They've already made their land drop this turn. So I'm going to Hymn to Turok them, and then I have Force Wasteland backup. I want white mana, so I'm going to get Scrubland with this, and Basic Swamp with this. Alright, I hit Spirit Guide and Stage. Let's find a Surgical. Alright, I found a Surgical. So, boom, boom, boom. Do not shuffle your library. Wasteland that. Surgical that. Sajiri Step, Inquisition of Kozilek. Yeah, they're just dead. Okay. Navigated that one alright. Wasteland MVP. So they have a shitload of counter magic, or discard spells for my counter magic, which is how this deck works, not a surprise. But I can't really count on anything sticking around in the first couple turns, so that'll affect my mulligan decisions. Like, just some sort of serviceable 7 versus like a perfect 5. The perfect 5 is not going to work because of the amount of discard they have. So now they know I have Wasteland and Surgical Extraction, so they can take those countermeasures. What do I do about all that? In Stormcaller plus any cantrip undoes a discard spell. Pretty strong. Yeah, I actually think I don't want Court of Cunning, or at least not in this quantity. Because I can beat them down. And if I end up plowing 2 or 3 Merit Lages and they're just at 40 to 80 life, then maybe the beatdown isn't great, but I should, I think, focus on the Surgicals plan. Right, them being on the play here is pretty good. Sylvan Safekeeper. Alright, so I'm going to get to shred them with discard. Flusterstorm is the only spell in this hand. They have 2 Urborg, 2 Dark Depths. Alright, so this Fatal Push is actually going to be pretty good, taking out the Safekeeper. Oh, jeez. That was a good draw. So I could Hymn to Turok them, trying to strip the 2 Dark Depths. If I draw Surgical, I do that because I'm guaranteed to hit at least one, and then I can strip the other. I could also... No, if I Fatal Push the X-Mage, then... If I Fatal Push Hexmage, they sack Mana Confluence, and they can still... Oh, they just need to play Dark Depths. They don't even need mana. So I can use this turn... This actually sucks. This is really hard. I guess I needed to Fatal Push the Hexmage, or the Safekeeper on turn 1 instead of Oh, they have Urborg in play, so I don't even need to do this. Yeah, I think that somehow him to Turok and just hope it works is my best play. It worked. Hit them both. All right. I was guaranteed to get one of them, and the other one was 50-50. So, won that coin flip. Oh, they're just conceding the tilt concession. Okay. We'll take those. On to the final round, playing for the positive record. Let's go. On the play, in the final round, I'm going to keep this hand full of cantrips. I build decks on purpose so their opening hands can look like this. They're on 6 so far. They started with 6. Maybe I'm supposed to fetch. Alright, so I'm going to keep these cards in this order. So I can pitch Court of Cunning to Force of Will if I need to, and then I can draw Seagate Oracle and then shuffle away the bonus land. Hopefully I just don't need to do any of that, though. Perfect. So I could brainstorm now looking for exactly Thoughtseize, but I think saving my brainstorm, being a little more patient. Like, I don't know what they're doing yet. Like, they could be Delver, they could be combo, could be anything. Even a boat. I could also just take my shuffle right here, draw a wild card off the top of my deck, and just play for the longer game. Or I could get stifled. Alright, yeah, they're a Delver deck. Good thing I know my top of my deck is more lands. No problem. Alright, Stifle deck confirmed. Legacy is wide open again. You can do whatever you want, even be a Stifle deck. So now the top of my deck is all new cards, so I don't even need to brainstorm. Just take my time setting up here. If they're not moving, I'm not moving. If a deck like Blue-Red Delver isn't deploying threats, oh, are they not Blue-Red Delver? There's some sort of AK deck. Today was a good day. So fighting over Kaya seems like it's going to be something I want to do. Controlling accumulated knowledge build up. Oh yeah. They did not shuffle. So I'll brainstorm in the end step. I don't think I'm going to want Moat here. And I will actually just keep this Plains. So I can draw the Plains, play it. You have a Stifle. Like, if they stifle me here, I can just jam Court of Cunning. If they don't stifle, I get to jam Kaya. Yeah, I'm not going to fight over that. They could daze this, but I want to start working through their counter magic. Okay, so they're onto forces. If they had dazed, they would have dazed. So I'm going to force this back. Pitching Force. I want to keep the Stormcaller because I think that can rebuild from this position better. Right, yeah, they're brainstorming. They're looking for the days. I think they already... Oh no, they just shuffled. So these are all new cards. Are we in? We're in. Okay. Now I gotta fade Sprite Dragon. True name Nemesis. Alright, well, I have Moat. and my court resolved, which makes me think that they don't have a counterspell. I am milling them even though they're an AK deck. Alright, no force, no daze, no stifle, please. Blue-red is not known for their ability to remove 4-mana enchantments. Should get Scrubland because they don't have any black mana yet. Alright. Yeah, they would have had to top deck the counterspell for that. Though they could still have something like Brazen Borrower that could mess me up. Sprite Dragon could still be in this deck. Oh, Hull Breacher's in this deck. Stifle, Hull Breacher, Wasteland. Alright, so they're like a mid-range blue-red Delver-esque deck. It's unclear if they're actually Delver. Yeah, Brazen Borrower is now the card I'm most worried about. They did not shuffle. Okay, Hull Breacher. Alright, yeah, that just, that turns my Monarch draws into treasures. But they are still under the gun of the mill. Oh, I should have milled us both because I have Snapcaster in hand. Whoops. Yeah, that was a missed opportunity. Brazen Borrower confirmed. So I can stick Kaya here. Yeah, Snapcasting anything doesn't matter. So black, white. Let's get a look at this bin. Probably want to target the accumulated knowledges. Okay, so Stifle, AK. Brazen Borrower, another AK. I'm going to exile the knowledges. Alright, so they're going to get a treasure off my Monarch draw. But is what it is. Hopefully extra mana is not where they're stuck right now. Alright, we did it. That would have drawn 3 if we didn't use Kaya correctly. These creatures don't fly. Alright, so milling them versus milling me. I'm actually not going to mill me even though I have Snapcaster because that'll show them 10 more cards in my deck. And I lose some Brewer's advantage if I do that. Yeah, if they're spending Stifles on that, that's fine. Okay, great. This is why I left Brazen Borrower in the deck, because I would like to exile it more permanently. Show me your deck. So this should give me information about their force of negationing. Okay, so that must actually be the plan. Okay, so force of negation. I can't snap force of will, don't have enough mana for that. Oh, I should have storm collared first. Yeah, loosey-goosey. Didn't even think about that. Yeah, if I go storm collar surgical there's not much they can do. Alright, so I'll exile accumulated knowledge and true name nemesis, I guess. I can gain life if I exile a true name. Or any creature, for that matter. I could jam the redundant court. That gives them... Yeah, I actually like that. Because that gives them 1 chance to draw Brazen Borrower right now, and then I mill them for 20 versus two looks. So, yeah, I like this. Okay, they're just conceding. Alright, so the Plague Engineer is definitely coming in. Naming Rogue hits both Brazen Borrower. That actually hits all of the creatures. I'm pretty sure Hull Breacher is a Rogue. I know that True Name Nemesis and Brazen Borrower are. So that's exciting. Flusterstorm is one of your best weapons against Stifle. A Moat seems pretty good, actually. And Fatal Push. So I didn't see actually Delver in the deck, but I do have enough ways to turn this on, and Hull Breacher is a huge deck. So I'll do that. And we did see Wasteland, so I'm going to need my basic planes if I'm turning into a Moat deck. Court of Cunning is risky. Force of Will is not great. Gotta cut 5 more cards, huh? Alright, I think the 2 of the therapies, as usual. Like 1 of the surgicals. In a matchup this aggressive, you just can't have 3 surgical extraction in your main deck. And what else do we have here? I want the discard sweep mostly intact. Kaya was good. Actually, Kaya was really good. Though surgical also pressures the accumulated knowledges, so that's fine. Seagate Stormcaller might be a little cute for the matchup. And gotta cut 1 more card. I could just play 61. I am bringing in an extra land to keep the ratio of lands to spells intact. Am I a dumb child for doing that? Or is that actually reasonable to do? Fuck it. It's for science. 61. Alright, this hand's solid. Keep. Like, I can't play around Wasteland here. This deck might have Blood Moon in it, too. But I don't have a good path to play around Wasteland, so I'm just going to ponder. Okay, that's pretty good. It gives me a basic land and a creature. Having both of the courts that I kept in my deck in this opening hand is pretty rough, because that's not a card that you really want often, and it's definitely not a card. Yeah, it's just like super risky is the problem. I am not going to indulge them by playing into Stifle. Like, they just leave up open mana in a deck this aggressive. That basically only means one thing. So if they want to tap out, okay, I'm getting stomped. Sure. Yeah, like if they want to tap out for this giant or True Name Nemesis and give me a chance to brainstorm without worrying about Stifle, I'm going to take it. Alright, that can resolve. I'll plow it. I take 2 for plowing it because that's how Bone Crusher Giant works. They're not going to fight over that. So I get to slam something onto the stack here. I'm going to get my fetch land in when I can for a basic island. Alright, I'll make them have a counterspell for this. Like, it's not often against a blue-red aggressive tempo deck like this that you get a chance to jam turn 3 Court of Cunning on an empty board. So I'm going to take it. We didn't actually see a haste creature last game. And the Hull Breacher is scary, but I have Snapcaster for it. So just gotta watch out for Hull Breacher with my Brainstorm. If they cast True Name Nemesis here, I'm in some danger. Okay, I actually kind of love that, because they spent that card, but the important thing is that I'm the Monarch. So, which is still true. They can't Hull Breacher right now, so this is a good time to Brainstorm. They can still Stifle, but, you know, whatever. I'm going to put back these 2 basic islands. And I'm going to Hymn to Tarok them. And I'm setting up a snap him for next turn. Like if they have Spell Piercer, Fluster Storm, they get a 1-for-1. Anything else here is going to be a 2-for-1, whether this resolves or they get... Right, there's the Stifle. Played around it. Lightning Bolt I don't really care about, though. That's kind of a bummer. Alright, there's that. I can Snap Plow that. I really wanted to snap him, but that's not in the cards, it seems. Oh, Snapcaster. They have to force the Snapcaster if they have a force, because it can still block even if they counter the plow. Yeah, and they just had to awkwardly jam that 4-3 into play. They didn't get to stomp or didn't get their 2-for-1. Alright, deck. That's enough lands for real. If I lose this Monarchy at any point, I'm probably still going to lose the game. Well, there's the true name. So I have Plague Engineers and Moat that can handle that. Though I have not drawn any of those yet. But I do have 5 outs in the deck. Ugh, for real, for real. I'm just going to jam into Stifle at this point. Like if they tap out here for a Stifle, that's fine with me. Then white, black. At least get Kaya into play. So they can steal the Monarch, but I have Court of Cunning to get it back. I also have Snapcaster that can attack back, and we can just exchange the Monarch for a while. Seriously, come on. Alright, I've drawn a lot of lands here, though 2 of these islands I drew because I was playing around Stifle, so their deck is kind of doing its job. Yeah, so, and I'm already at 12. I've taken a lot of damage along the way somehow. Alright, you're the Monarch. Can you also answer Snapcaster Mage? Yes, okay. Bad news. Alright, it's time to draw a Plague Engineer, or Moat. Surgical, not what I wanted. I think I should be exiling my own creature to gain life here. Seems more important. And I am gonna extract Pyroblast and then cast Court of Cunning. I hope. That at least steals me back the Monarchy for a turn, though they are showing me Hull Breacher right now. Alright, they're getting a free shuffle off of this. Whether they're hiding a Pyroblast from their hand or not is unclear, but they are getting a shuffle off their Brainstorm. Ooh, they found Force of Will. They just really want that Pyroblast, it seems. Force pitching AK. Yeah, I just need to jam this and get another draw. Then the milling can also fuel Kaya. Hull Breacher, giant problem here. Yeah, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lands drawn out of 22 cards. That's what went wrong here. They stripped the Monarchy back again. And now I've used both of my courts, which is my best way to get the Monarchy. and now I have to actually get it back in combat. I would like to mill you. I don't think milling me is something that's important right now. Alright, milled a Brazen Borrower off of them. Alright, I'm going to lead with Ponder because it's less devastating if they have Hull Breacher. Force of Will, Stormcaller, Snapcaster Mage. Alright, so I'll take that. I'm going to play a fetch land and then Stormcaller. So if I double Brainstorm, then I'll be able to fetch in between the two Brainstorms. And if they slow rolled Hull Breacher, if they gave me the Ponder and then get me on the Brainstorm with a Hull Breacher, they deserve it. They could hardcast Force here. That might be what they're thinking about. Alright, did you 1000 IQ me? No. Okay, good. Put back this, and then shuffle. I have a lot of white mana already. Alright, second Brainstorm. Alright, there's Moat, and they do have a Force of Will in the graveyard. So I'll put back the two lands. They have 5 cards in exile. One of them is Brazen Borrower. So I can hit their graveyard and still gain life, which is important here. Surgical, Force of Will. Which will add more cards to the Kaya when I do pop her, which might have to happen next turn. Alright, so they Force of Negation to that. That worked either way, because now I get to Moat. And Moat means they're the Monarch forever, because I don't have any flyers in my deck. So Kaya's going to have to win this game. They can still bolt me out. So, I mean, Kaya is about to gain 7. This is a really interesting game. Oh, and Kaya can continue, or Court can continue milling them for 2. And I don't want the 2 lands on top of my deck. Plus I have Snapcaster, so milling myself for 2. Yeah, just milling both players here is correct. And them being the Monarch, I don't know, 2 cards isn't a lot, but they're going through 4 cards of their deck every turn. Thoughtseize. Not excited about that. So Snapcaster can get him to Turok, which might be solid. Thoughtseize puts me to 5 if they double bolt. I'm going for the Thoughtseize. I want to know if they have Hull Breacher. Yeah, targeted discard spells get a lot worse when they become the Monarch off of your cards. And I don't want to like just get got by an end step Brazen Borrower. I don't know how many of those they play, and one of them's already in exile. But there might be some sequence here. This Force of Will. That's interesting. So I can Flusterstorm this, get my Thoughtseize to resolve. Then I can Snap Surgical, exile more cards, and then have a bigger Kaya. Like, I think exiling Lightning Bolt at this point is worth a lot. Alright, so strip their Pyroblast. So their hand is just Scalding Tarn. So Snapcaster Surgical. So Snapcaster Surgical, exile Lightning Bolt. So this gets the bolts out of their deck. And we get to see their deck. True Name Nemesis. Oh, there are 3 Brazen Borrowers in this deck. So 2 more Brazen Borrowers and a Bone Crusher. But that's about it. So the Lightning Bolts are out. Okay. Kaya, let's get a big zap here. And then get back to work next turn. Okay, there's that. I'm at 15 to their 16, and they have 1 Stomp in their deck left. Oh, they're just packing it up? Really? I think this game was like close to me being slightly behind, but they just scooped it up. The lock was too strong. Okay, so 3-2 with this kind of wonky deck. And one of those losses was because I timed out in sideboarding, and hurts the data a little bit. But main deck Surgical, though I still don't recommend it as a good deck building thing, it does seem pretty potent in the current metagame. We played against a number of Uro decks, or decks that just had 2 win conditions in their whole main deck, and then they were gone. So that came up a couple times. That was pretty cool. Not the worst. Really, I think what showed really well was the power of discard, just targeted discard, which has been off the menu for a while because of Dreadhorde Arcanist and Oko just being too good against it. But those are gone, and this robust discard suite, paving the way for Court of Cunning to just mop up afterwards, was really good. Moat continues to impress me every time I play it, which is rough because it's like a $1,400 card in real life, and if you don't have it, it's going to be hard to get one. I have one myself, but I've been playing 2 in a lot of decks, which is a little bit painful on the old wallet. But that aside, Moat aside, you could probably replace that with something else if you really wanted to play this deck. But I think that 3 Surgical was the right amount if you want to be on this sort of plan. The 6 that was originally sent to me was way too many. That would have been awful. 3 felt strong. You could probably even play 2 if you want to play a more normal deck that just has that as an option in the main. Seagate Stormcaller never really went off. I guess in that last game when I was able to double a Brainstorm with a fetch land in between on the stalled board, that was pretty good. There were a couple times where it would have doubled a Thoughtseize if they didn't counter it, and by countering it, I got a card out of their hand anyway, so I guess that was pretty cool. But I would want proactive spells like Thoughtseize if I was going to play a card like this. Like proactive sorceries, specifically. Like, you don't really want to always set up a Brainstorm so it can be doubled on your main phase. Ponder's probably fine, but Thoughtseize was really juicy. Therapy was really good too, with Stormcaller specifically. So, thanks for watching. If you're going to play this deck, add some Vindicates to the sideboard. Just being unable to answer a resolved permanent, a resolved non-creature permanent is a problem. But other than that, this deck performed pretty well. I do like the Esper shell in general. And this is a good place to start. So thanks for watching. Foxicon, thanks for the deck, and I'll see you all next time.